Hi guys, today we've got a few random projects to get done. We're going to start by sealing some terracotta saucers to make them waterproof. Then I want to take you upstairs into the plant room, give you an update on all of our seedlings. Then we're going to come back outside. I've got a couple of sedum in containers. I noticed they were pushing new growth, so I want to cut them back. And then we'll finish up with our terracotta saucer project. So we've got a few terracotta saucers in a variety of sizes that we're going to be sealing today. If there's one thing to know about terracotta, it's very porous, which is great for plants. But when you're dealing with terracotta saucers on surfaces that you don't want damaged or you want to protect, you want to make sure that you use glazed terracotta saucers or that you glaze them yourself. Because if you were to put this on a wood surface or any other surface that you want to protect, if you were to leave water in here, the water will leach through to the other side and damage your surface. So we are going to be applying a glaze to make these waterproof. Here's our setup today. We've got our terracotta saucers all lined up, ready to go. I've got my screwdriver to pop the lid off our can. I've got my paintbrush to apply the glaze. I don't have a paint stirrer, so I'm using a chopstick, and this is what we're going to be using to glaze our terracotta saucers. Rust-Oleum's Ultra Cover Clear Gloss. I've used this many times to glaze numerous terracotta saucers. It works fantastically. I love it. I typically use 3 coats per saucer. I have gone as high as 5, but honestly, 3 coats is more than sufficient. This process is so easy and simple to do. We just dip our paintbrush into the glaze, apply it to the bottom and the sides of the interior of the terracotta saucer, let it dry, reapply 2 more times, and then we're done. And in the end, our saucers will look like this. So you can see that shine in there. That's how you can tell if a terracotta saucer is glazed. And then for additional protection, what I like to do, I like to take these felt sticky pads and I put them on the back of, or on the bottom of each terracotta saucer. That way, not only do I have water protection here, but I have scratch protection here, because I have many a time set these down and then just slid them, not realizing that this surface over here is actually a little rough and it leaves like these scratches on your surface. So just a little extra protection, some felt pads, which I picked up at Home Depot. All right guys, let's get our first coat on. All right, so we're just going to start by getting this all mixed up. This is what it looks like. It's got like a milky appearance to it, but it dries completely clear. I'm going to bring you in closer so you can see how I apply it, and then we'll just get them all done. So we just put a little glaze on our brush and just coat the bottom. And then we'll just take it up the sides. And that's coat 1. We got the first coat on. We have 2 more to do, and I'm gonna wait about 20-30 minutes between each coat. Now let's go upstairs to the plant room and I'll show you how our seedlings are doing. Okay, oof, let's get some light in here. Ah, much better. Okay, so we have our fan on right now for the seedlings. Let me just turn that off while we're in here. There we go. So here is our grow light system. We've got the top row with some of our succulents. I'm actually propagating a string of pearls. It's been in here for a few months and look at it. It's putting on so much growth now. We have a pothos here. Our old string of pearls, which I cut completely back and kind of did like a rejuvenation prune on it. Kalanchoe, I can never pronounce this, but I cut this all the way back a few months ago and poof. Look at that, so pretty. Our African violet has been blooming its head off. Got a bunch of spent blooms I need to come in here and clean up. We have our succulents propagating here and the last of our African violets that we propagated last year. I gave all the others away. We have 3 left. And one of these bloomed. Let's go down to the middle row. This is where all of our current seedlings are. This is our borage. Look at these, you guys. These have put on so much growth. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get these into the landscape too, because look at these leaves. They're like little crinkly waffle leaves. You can see I've got my little yellow sticky trap for fungus gnats, and we've got a few on there. And a few on the other one as well. No matter what I do, I think they just hitchhike on me from outside and come in, but they make their way in. Here we have our tray of onions. Don't these look good? I actually just cut these back. I took some nippers and just cut them back because they were getting a little too tall, and I just wanted them to kind of bulk up. I didn't want them to be too top heavy too soon in these little trays. But we've got our green onion, our bunching onion, candy onions, and our Cabernet onions, which is a red onion. Candy onion is a sweet yellow onion. These are just green onions. And then over here, we've got our herbs, which actually look pretty good, except for these 2 rows back in here. These are the garlic chive and the chive, and they don't seem to be doing too much. But the basil in the back, the chamomile, looking really good. And then the dill and the parsley up front, just growing. Look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. And then our last tray over here, this is our Echinacea purpurea, and look at these. Oh my gosh, we had one tray that didn't come up in the corner, and then right over here, we had one trying to come up, but then it just kind of stopped. But all the other seed trays germinated, so we've got about 2 dozen, no, 2, 4, 6, 8, I don't know, like 40 some echinacea, which I'm giving some away to friends too. I just like growing them, but we're going to put some in the landscape too. And then right over here, we have what we took our little pellet experiment that we did, our little Jiffy experiment that we did, and planted up some celery and lettuce. A few of them germinated, a few of them did not. I thought my onions didn't do too much germination, the red onions, so I planted another container of them. But as you can see, the Cabernet onions in the back just kind of took off after I planted some extras. So we're gonna have a whole bunch of onions. But all in all, these are looking really good. These are actually gonna be, we're gonna start to harden these off next week because the temperatures are gonna be in like the upper 60s and up to 70. So I'm gonna start introducing them to sunlight. Hardening off is getting your seedlings acclimated to outside conditions. Because they've been in this grow room, in the warmth and the humidity, they've been baby their entire lives. If we were to just take these trays and just plant them out into the garden, they would burn up and shock and probably die because they're not used to direct sun, more intense winds, and just overall temperatures. They're not used to any of that. So what we do is we take these and we put them outside a couple days in maybe just shade, get them used to the temperatures, and then we slowly start introducing them to sunlight. We start off with morning sun, probably for about like an hour or two, then bring them back in for the rest of the day, and then the next day we bring them back out, maybe give them 3 to 4 hours, bring them back in, and so on for about a week to 10 days until they've become fully acclimated, because then what we're going to do is we're going to pot these up into 4-inch containers and let them live outside until we're ready to get them planted in the landscape or planted in the garden beds, and that way they'll be ready to go for the season. So you can see our seedlings here. We've got our first true sets of leaves. Right below it, these are just the leaves that come out when the seed germinates. But once all of these have their first set of true leaves, we start fertilizing. And this is what I've been using to fertilize Espomas grow. I mix it at half strength, and I actually bottom water them. Right now I have some of these sitting on racks in their trays. These are all just freshly watered and fertilized this morning. But what I do is I mix this up half strength, take this off, remove the tray, fill the bottom tray with about 1/4 inch of water, put the seedlings in there, and just let them soak up what they need to, and then get them back on the rack so the roots can air dry, and back under the grow lights. Then after a couple weeks fertilizing at half strength, I kick it up to full strength, and then you end up with seedlings like this. But I think everything overall is doing really well, minus the chives and the garlic chives. I'm not sure what really happened, but there's only like a couple sprouting in all 8 cells combined. So I don't know, I guess I'll just reseed them and try again. And on the bottom shelf, we have our carrot experiment in our peat pellets, which only germinated about 50%, so I'm not too thrilled about that. In the center, we have celery that I've reseeded. It's under a little humidity dome, waiting for the seeds to germinate. And then to the right over here, we have our romaine lettuce that I reseeded about 4 or 5 days ago, and it took off. I just took the humidity dome off of the lettuce and started fertilizing at half strength. So this is looking fantastic. These, still waiting for them to germinate, the celery. And then of course our carrots, but I just wanted to try them in these little peat pellets indoors, because sometimes outside, the germination rate outside is just horrible. At least for me anyways. And I do stay on top of things. I make sure the soil is moist, it doesn't dry out. But sometimes it just doesn't work out for me. But I still try every year, and I'm going to continue to this year. And here's a few of our houseplants. We've got our ponytail palm looking fantastic. Right next to that, we've got the white wizard philodendron. Look at this, you guys. Isn't that just gorgeous? And look how big it's gotten. Ugh. And then right over here we have the pothos, which I cannot remember the name of this, but I will pop it on the screen. But clearly you can tell I like variegation, but look at this thing. I had to put a pole on here because it was just growing like crazy. Beautiful. All right, let's get the fan going again. Okay, ready for the second coat. Okay, while the second coat is drying, we're going to go over here to where we have all of our containers, and we're going to cut back 2 sedums that I have in containers. I picked these up last year and they've been wintering over outside. Look how beautiful they are. Rock and Grow Popstar Sedum grows 8 to 10 inches tall and about 20 to 24 inches wide, and it gets these beautiful, beautiful pink flowers. Oh, so pretty. And then over here we have the Rockin' Round Pure Joy Sedum, 10 to 12 inches tall, 16 to 20 inches wide, and this has a more delicate pink flower. Both are just so pretty. So you can see all the new growth coming out, all of these beautiful like greenish rosettes. So what we need to do is just get rid of all of this new growth, and it's really easy. We just take our pruners and just cut them all the way back. And had I done this a little sooner, I could probably have gotten all of these dead branches closer to the base, but it's still good enough. It's still fine. Let's get rid of some of these leaves. There we are. Looks so much better. This one's a lot easier. They look like totally different plants right now, don't they? All we have left to do is apply our third and final coat, and we will be done for the day. All right, guys, it's been about 45 minutes since we applied our second coat, so I'm going to come in and apply our third and final coat, and we will be done sealing our terracotta saucers. Third and final coat is on. I'm going to leave them out here in the sun to cure for a few hours, and then I'll bring them inside and let them finish curing. They should be ready to go by tomorrow afternoon, at which point I'll apply some felt pads to the bottom, and they'll look like this in the end. And you guys, that is it for our projects today. What a productive day. I am so glad I got these terracotta saucers glazed, because I have a few house plants inside that are sitting in those plastic saucers that I want to swap out. We got our sedum cut back, just a couple, but we got them cut back. And I gave you guys an update on our seedlings, which I think are doing pretty well overall. They're getting so big, and we're going to be potting them up real soon once we harden them off. So anyways, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.